There are many opportunities to get angry within sports, both during practices and games. From bad calls to mistakes you make, anger and frustration can quickly form. But the question is this anger helping you or is it hurting you? Hey there, I'm Eli Straw. I'm a performance coach and the founder of SuccessStartsWithin.com. In this video, I'm gonna get into how anger can help you, how it may hurt you, and a strategy that you can use if your anger is getting the best of you during games. So let's start with how anger can actually help you. Whether anger helps you or not, it's going to depend largely on the sport you play and the position you play. It's also going to depend upon your personality. But one thing's for certain, if anger is helping you, it will increase your performance. There is no way for anger to help you if after you get mad, your performance level is going to routinely drop. If that's the case, no matter how much you try and convince yourself that the anger that you feel is helping motivate you, the evidence is going to speak to the opposite. But there is a chance that anger is helping you and your game. A great example is from a running back that I worked with who used anger to drive him during games. His anger came from the other team. For whatever reason, if he didn't like who he was playing and they had pissed him off, it motivated him to compete harder. We actually used this as a way to get him into a better mindset going into games by having him just find reasons to be mad at the other team. That way, he leveraged the fact that anger helped him and he used it to increase his level of play. But you need to be very careful and honest with yourself as to whether or not anger is actually helping you. Now, through my work, I've come across more athletes who have had anger hold them back rather than helping them perform well. So let's take a quick look at some of the key characteristics of using anger to help you as an athlete. Number one is that anger fuels you. This is the very reason the running back found anger as a strong tool. It fueled him to compete harder and gave him the edge he needed to perform his best during games. Now, this is why we often see anger help you as an athlete if you play more of a contact sport that's going to thrive on aggression. Another example is a pitcher in baseball whose anger puts a little more speed on his fastball and gets him into an attacking mindset on the mound. Or another example is a basketball player who gets mad and uses the anger to drive her to make strong moves to the basket and play aggressive and hard defense. All of those examples involve anger fueling you as a result of being angry at the other team. But anger can also fuel your play if you're mad at yourself for a mistake you made. You could use that anger to drive you to really focus in and play better for the remainder of the game. Another key characteristic is that you are in control of your anger. Now, going off the previous idea of anger fueling you, if anger is helping you play better, it is under your control. When anger takes over you, you can become blinded by your own rage. Even if you play an aggressive sport, this level of uncontrolled anger can result in you playing recklessly and actually causing more harm than good. Think making unnecessary fouls in basketball or throwing wild pitches in baseball. If anger is helping you, you are in control of your anger. You do not allow your emotions to get the best of you. Instead, you use them to your advantage by fueling a better performance. Think about a boxer who competes with anger. If that anger is not under their control, they can easily be beaten by a more clear-headed opponent. They may be punching powerfully, but it will also be wild and out of control. So a key to using anger to your advantage is that the anger must be in your control. Now let's talk about how anger can hold you back as an athlete. Because you must decide for yourself, is anger really helping you? Or is it holding you back and leading to you playing with less confidence or in an uncontrolled manner? Even if anger is used to your advantage, there are still going to be times when it can get the best of you. Going back to the running back I mentioned earlier, he still had to be careful not to get too mad at himself after a mistake or mad at the officials. If he did, then the frustration that he felt ended up distracting him. So while there may be times when anger is used to your advantage, you also want to have a strategy in place to manage your anger during practices and games. But before I get into a strategy that you can use, let's take a look at some of the ways anger can really hold you back and cause you to underperform. One is going to be that anger distracts you. This is a big reason that anger is going to lower your performance because anger is a huge distraction. The anger itself will distract you along with what you're angry about. Let's say you're mad at yourself over a mistake that you made. The reason you will stay mad is because you are still thinking about the mistake. The more you think about the mistake, the less attention you are giving to the next play. You may also get upset with yourself for the fact that you're feeling angry. This can happen if you get mad over a mistake or mad at the ref or even mad at the other team. But you may know that anger only hurts you, and so then you get distracted thinking about how you shouldn't be angry in the first place. Another reason anger holds you back is that anger can make you play recklessly. Anger is all about energy. When that energy is uncontrolled, it can lead to reckless behavior on the field or court. A great example is a hitter in baseball or softball who makes an error in the field, gets mad at themselves, and then carries that anger to the plate. When at the plate, they try to make up for the mistake and take their anger out through big and forceful swings. Swings that only end up in them missing the ball and striking out. Another example is a tennis player who is angry at a bad call. Her anger takes over, and she begins hitting balls too forcefully, resulting in bad shots. Another reason anger is going to hold you back is that anger lowers your confidence. This one is going to be especially true if the reason you're mad is because of a mistake. I was talking with a baseball player recently, and we were discussing the anger he feels after a bad at-bat. For him, this anger leads to self-doubt. He is thinking so much about the mistake that it leads to him questioning his ability to get a hit the next time he's up to bat. If the anger also leads to you playing worse for the remainder of the game, as it often did for him, this bad game can completely tear down your confidence moving forward. Now let's get into a strategy to manage anger as an athlete. Because if you feel that anger is getting the best of you during practices and games, then you need a way to manage this anger in the moment. While it's difficult to stop yourself from getting angry altogether, what you can do is work on reducing the impact the frustration has on you and how long you stay mad at yourself. Now that's where this strategy is going to come into play. So step number one, you want to release the anger if possible. Now, this first step does come with a word of caution. I am by no means advocating for you to break anything, throw your equipment, or do anything else like that. What I am saying though, is that anger is energy, and sometimes you need to release the energy to let go of the anger. If steps 2 and 3 work well on their own, then I would honestly suggest that you skip this step. But the reason I include it is because sometimes it's incredibly difficult to calm yourself down if you're boiling over with anger unless you first release a little anger. An example of how this can work is an obstacle course athlete that I've been working with recently. He tends to get mad when he fails on an obstacle or has a bad time on a run. What I suggested for him was to immediately go to the warm-up area and get on another obstacle. He does short sprint obstacle course races, so he has time to go to the warm-up area before he races again. By doing this, he's able to release some energy on another obstacle, along with feeling better by doing well on those obstacles. Another example may be, sprinting out to your position, sprinting down the court, clapping your hands, squeezing a stress ball, really just anything that is a safe, non-harmful way of releasing your anger. Step 2 is to work to calm yourself down. Once you've released some energy, if that's needed, your goal needs to be to calm yourself down. It's important to realize that when you are angry, we aren't going to shoot to that absolute opposite end of the spectrum and try to get you to feel happy. That's just not going to be a very realistic thing. Instead, your goal is to get more calm and relaxed, because the calmer you are, the clearer your head is going to be, making it easier to refocus, which we're going to talk about in step 3. To calm yourself down, you want to focus on taking some deep breaths. Use count breathing, where you breathe in for a count of 5 and then out for a count of 5, for example, to take your attention off whatever it is that you're mad about. And then in step number 3, you're going to refocus. One of the main reasons that anger hurts your performance is because this anger is distracting you. Knowing how easy it is to still think about the mistake that you just made or whatever it is that upsets you, your job is to work on refocusing. Now, once you've taken a few deep breaths to really calm down, it's time to refocus onto the next play. To help refocus, try to pick out something very simple to focus on. For example, really focus on just watching the ball, or think about keeping your hands up on defense, or think about how much you want to make the next play. The idea is you want to focus your attention onto what's next, but you don't want to think about a bunch of stuff at once. So keep it as simple as possible with what you want to refocus onto, because we know that it's very easy to get angry as an athlete. Whether it's due to a mistake you made, the other team, the official's call, or anything else, frustration is going to be common. It's your job to decide if this anger is helping you or hurting you. And even if it is helping you, it's still a good idea to have a strategy to manage the anger if you notice that the anger is getting the best of you. So you want to use the strategy that we just talked about to let go of your anger in the moment whenever you're feeling frustrated. This is going to allow you to refocus and play your best moving forward.